YouTube land. I am back. This is sincerely me, and I am talking to none other than the third presiding bishop of Full Gospel, Bishop L. Lawrence Brandon, who is my pastor, whom I love so very dearly. And we are here in Praise Simple Studios with a continuation of the 4 agreements. So we are talking about the 4 agreements and just breaking agreements. And so I wanted to bring someone in who could give you more of a scripture backing than I did. I can only talk to you about what I read. And so we are going to be discussing each one of the agreements step by step, and we're just going to have a discussion. So make sure that you guys chime in if you have any comments. I would love to answer them and talk to you about them. Don't forget to click like, subscribe, and comment. So let's just jump right into Bishop. I know that you're well read, just like I am. And so we read the 4 agreements, and how did you actually feel about the book?
Well, first of all, thank you for having me.
Yes,
congratulations on this great work and this worldwide work, and I'm just certainly glad to be a part of it.
Well, thank you, sir. Thank you for being a part.
Well, hey, I'm grateful. Listen, as you mentioned, the 4 agreements, I really have been encouraging people to read the book. It has brought great awareness and enlightenment in my life, and it's a book that I've been pushing, and I've been buying people copies and really been pushing it. The author is wonderful. Now, his theology, is a little different from mine, but of course, psychologically speaking, the 4 agreements applies.
Yes,
it
sir.
applies to everyday life. So I've taken it and with a scriptural twist that will support my theology and my faith in God, Jesus is God, to take it and improve my life. And so I'm excited about that because, again, he's a great author, and it takes you places, and it really challenges your thinking. And I'm about expanding and expansion, and it helps us to has helped me to expand, and those who I've come in contact with to expand their thinking.
Yes, sir. So just talking about the 2 different theologies. So the author is Don Miguel Ruiz, and if you haven't gotten the book, you can get it on Amazon. It's like $6 and some change. So his theology is based on more of a, I don't want to just call it, more of a Native American perspective, kind of dealing with spirits and ancestors and all of that. So in applying to that, I know it kind of threw me for a loop. I said that in my previous video, but said that to my followers that you have to, if you are a Christian like I am, you have to be careful because the first part will throw you for a loop.
It will.
Like that introduction was,
yes.
So keep reading. It'll change you. It'll bless you. Just keep reading because he does make biblical references as well. So let's start with the first agreement. Be impeccable with your word. So tell me how you feel about that. That was the one that blew my mind. Just being impeccable with your word. Speaking love, light, and truth to yourself first, and then it goes out to the others. So I know you've had sermons about stop being messy in this and give the message. Also about gossip, because sometimes we don't really see that we gossip, and I know that talks about that. So.
Well, I've learned to, in any situation, especially in this book, to take what you need and throw away what you don't need. And so being impeccable with your word, it was profound. That was a profound statement in reading because, oftentimes we think being impeccable means being perfect.
Right.
Being a perfect individual. And we, as it relates to scripture, we know that none of us are perfect, but we should strive for perfection.
Right.
And when Jesus said perfection, he's simply saying being complete, really.
Right.
Being complete or growing or developing, becoming who you are. And so being impeccable with your word was wonderful. If you're not truthful with yourself, you can be truthful with anyone else.
Very true.
And so being impeccable with your words, say what you mean and mean what you say.
Right. But most people don't realize that sometimes it's difficult. Like we'll think that we're saying what we mean and meaning what we say, and then something will trigger and we'll try to go back on our word.
Absolutely.
Or lie to ourselves or lie to others. So how would you encourage those to just say what you mean what you say, be impeccable with your word?
Well, work as hard as you can to hear through the filters of love and see through the lenses of love so you can speak with the volume and tone of love.
That's good, sir.
And so as you being impeccable with your words, you can speak the truth in love, lace it with grace.
Right. Okay. Now, he broke down the word impeccable, which was really, really good because you mentioned it, that it means perfect, or we think the word
yes.
means perfect.
Yes.
But how the author broke it down is that impeccable is speaking without sin.
Yes.
So how do you speak without sin?
Sure. And the way I comprehended the statement is, speaking without sin simply means speaking without covering up the truth, just being absolutely truthful. The older people I've taught, my grandparents used to say it a lot, my mom, dad, they said if it's not truth, just don't say it at all.
Right.
They said if you don't have anything good to say about anyone, you've heard that, don't say it at all. So being impeccable with your words simply means, being true to yourself and being true to the person that you're communicating with. And so, although we're imperfect beings, being developed, striving for maturity, our words should be backed up with our behavior.
That's good, sir.
And so if I'm impeccable with my words, I'm gonna back it up with my behavior. But if I say something, my behavior says something different. Like those who are in a relationship, let's say a husband and wife, instead of opening their mouths and being true, they may, say, well, how, the wife may be upset about something and the husband realizes and he says, well, how are you doing? What's going on? Well, I'm fine. And of course, as I've counseled many, I'm fine, I'm okay. But then the husband sees that the behavior doesn't support.
The I'm fine is the typical
default.
Yeah, that's our default.
Absolutely.
That's a woman's default to say something's wrong. You better say something.
Right.
Now.
And then, but communication is key. And so we're going to be impeccable with words. There must be a proper communication.
Right.
Because I can't help you or fix a situation, or fix a matter, or fix myself if I as the receiver don't receive your proper communication, because you're saying one thing, but you're behaving differently. And so if you just open your mouth and tell me what's really going on, then I can help, in the matter. And many people, communication is the glue to any platonic relationship, romantic relationship, any business relationship. Okay. Communication is key. But however, if the communication is not impeccable, then that means there will be a loss of adhesion.
Right, sir.
And we lose we'll lose that causes us to stick together. And so any situation, how people say weather the storm.
Yes, sir.
If there's a storm comes, we lose.
Right.
And so being impeccable helps us to stick and stay and don't go.
That's good, sir. So speaking of communication, now in church terms, we say, either sharing something, we say it's sharing, but it talks in this about gossiping.
Absolutely.
So we communicate a lot of times, and I've said it, like we'll call our girlfriends, hey girl, I got some tea for you, or
tea.
You ain't heard the tea, I'm gonna spill it. All of that is gossip. And so if we're being impeccable and we're speaking true to ourselves and to others, we have to be aware of gossiping about situations and things that really don't concern us.
Absolutely. Oh my gosh. And you're on point with that. And because in the church, I know we're speaking to everybody, but in church we have as Christians, Christianity is a subculture.
Yes, sir. Agreed.
Right. Well, we have our own language, and so sharing and gossiping, in most instances, it's the same. Now, if I'm sharing the good news, the gospel of Jesus Christ, as opposed to sharing your business, which is gossip.
Right.
Yes,
right.
Indeed.
Right. So, in being impeccable, we have to be careful in what we're sharing.
And what we're sharing, because again, if we're speaking out of a heart of love, remember, with the filters of love on our ears, the lenses of love through our eyes, then the volume and tone of love. Gossip, malicious gossip, destroys.
It does.
It destroys. But if I'm trying to edify, I need to ask myself a question. If I'm impeccable with my words, that means I'm trying to build. I'm trying to edify. But if I'm not impeccable with my words and I'm gossiping, I'm destroying, putting down. And then secondly, if I gossip, I'm telling you indirectly what I think about you.
Right, sir.
I'm telling you, you're a garbage can. Because I'm bringing trash to you.
Come on, sir.
And so if I'm bringing trash to you, that's what I think. It may be some good tea, but it's some trashy tea. And so if I respect you, I'm not going to gossip. If I'm sharing something with you, truly sharing something with you, that means there's a matter we need to pray about. There's a matter, let's go before the Lord about, or a matter we need to get together and put our heads together so we can help someone.
Right, sir.
Because if I share it with you, I should be able to share it with the person that I'm speaking of.
And that's it.
And so now I'm impeccable with my word.
Yes, sir.
As you know here at Praise Temple, and people who know me around the world know that I don't talk behind anybody's back. If I say it, I'm coming to you and tell you I said it. Because if I say it, somebody come to you, they'll add their little twist to it.
Yes, sir, they do.
But if I come to you, I'm going to tell you what I actually said.
Right.
You see? And so again, if I can't say it to you, then I don't need to say it at all.
So
That's being impeccable.
that's being impeccable. So you see, Bishop has covered all of that with the scripture that I can't. I can't do. I just come to church. So he is backed it with scripture, and he lets you know how to speak impeccably, how to speak without sin, and how to avoid gossip. So in the second agreement, it is do not take anything personally.
Oh.
And he laid it out so well in the book. He said good or bad.
Yes.
Like, don't take anything personally,
Plain
because I say this all the time. People have a tendency to be fickle. So if you're doing
People are
something that they like, they'll praise you.
Yeah.
And then if you take that personally, then your ego is bigger than the studio we're in. And then if you're doing something that they don't like, then they'll speak to you again, and then it'll be negative. And so that defeats you. So how do you encourage people to just kind of not take things personally, good or bad?
Well, that's a tough feat, really.
It is.
As humans, as people, it's tough because of how we grew up. In most instances, we grew up to take things personal. We grew up to give people a piece of our minds. Think about it.
Have you given somebody a piece of your mind, sir? I can't believe that. I would not believe that. What?
I'm a disciplined man. But that's how, most grew up, you don't take that from people. People
Very
will teach
true.
you.
Very
That's
true.
that's how we were taught in East
Come on,
Oakland,
speak it wrong.
right? See, you don't take that. No, you speak up. But, and I understand, however, then I don't understand. Because again, we've taken things personal. We have allowed words to attach itself to us.
Okay.
And when you allow something to attach itself to you, you're taking it personal. If someone calls me, you are a dog. If I rough, then I've taken it personal.
That's true. You've agreed.
Because I've agreed to it.
You've agreed.
But I know who I am.
Right, sir.
And so you call me a dog. Sticks and stones may break my bones, and your words will never hurt me.
See, sir, that's good for me. Because I'm one of those people, I take words to heart. Like,
Right.
words affect me worse than anything. So trying not to take anything personally
Yeah.
is one of those things where you have to just really pay attention and just be careful. Like, am I agreeing with that?
Absolutely.
Do I agree with them?
Absolutely. What we take personal is what we have personalized because some seed has been sown years ago. And if that seed has been sown years ago and somebody brings it up, you take it personally because it's already in you. So we got to start appreciating ourselves and uproot and dig out those conscious and or subconscious seeds that were sown into us. And so we got to deal within ourselves. So if somebody calls me whatever, it doesn't move me.
It does not, sir.
It doesn't bother me. Why? Because I know who I am.
Right, sir.
And I'm grateful for who I am. And so there's a difference between, arrogancy and competency. Because you were looking at me like I was.
No, sir.
You know?
You guys, psychology major. Just letting you know. Theology major. He's bringing it all to the forefront. Okay.
But again, it's really what you receive. So I'm confident. I'm not arrogant.
Right, sir.
Now, arrogant simply means you think you're all that, you're better than anybody else. That's not the case with me. I'm confident. I know who I am. I don't think I'm better than anyone else, but I also don't think I'm lesser than anyone else.
That's good.
And so, since I know who I am, when whoever says whatever to me, I don't allow it to attach myself. But if someone says something favorably to me, then I allow it to attach itself to me because that's who I am.
It's kind of like how we say in the church, and this is that church lingo, I receive.
Amen. You using church lingo?
Whoa.
Okay, Miss Secular.
What?
All right.
So,
But right, I receive
I
that.
receive.
But then we also say,
I don't receive. Right.
Yes. So there's a difference. So it's up to you. Whatever you receive, you receive. Whatever you don't receive, you don't receive.
Right. Those are the agreements.
Absolutely.
So that's personal, not taking it personal.
Right. Don't take it personal.
Number 3, and this is another one. Do not make assumptions.
Ooh.
All across, we make assumptions, and then regardless of what we think, we're also making judgments. Like,
Right.
if we're assuming things about people that we may not necessarily know, we're taking them either at face value or somebody speaking about them or sharing about them, and we make these preconceived notions about people. So when it says don't make assumptions, the thing that I've been saying is be courageous and just ask a question.
Ask. It's important to get to know a person.
That's good.
Jesus says, judge not, and ye shall not be judged.
Right.
Or condemn not, and ye shall not be condemned. That's what he's saying. Now, there's nothing wrong with positive judging because, your color is blue and then you have bees in your dress.
Yes, sir.
And so you have the bumblebee, right?
Yes, sir, I do.
Now, if I tell you that that's a robin, a bird, you're going to tell me that's a bumblebee.
Right, sir, I don't receive it.
Right. Because again, you're judging properly. That's a bumblebee.
Right, sir.
It's not a robin. So that's positive judging. It is what it is. I see what I see. Positive judging. If I show you a lemon and tell you it's an apple, you're going to positively judge and say, no.
Right, sir.
You're going to say, Lawrence Brandon, that is a lemon. That's not an orange. That's positive. But now, if I condemn you and say you're going to hell or nothing good's going to come out of your life and all of that, you're this, you're that, and that make you feel bad because your past, but you come back and say, I don't see that because my past will not prevent my future.
That's good, sir.
And so assume. You remember what if you assume you're making a donkey out of you and me.
Okay, sir, that's the religious version.
See, if you were secular, you would say,
I would went the other way.
yes. So I'm gonna hold my mule.
Okay.
Hold my mule.
We all know that. Thank you.
Yeah, but don't assume. It's important to get to know a person. Do you know if I didn't get to know you or others that I've come in contact with, I would have missed opportunities for a wonderful relationship.
Very true.
To help advance the cause of Christ, to help advance our city, our state, our nation.
Right.
There's a lot of people assuming, but it's Satan's way of keeping us divided. Instead of you getting to know a person and getting to know a person so that you may forge a wonderful relationship, it would change your life, it would change the lives of others. And Satan keeps us divided. Satan wants us to assume instead of getting to know. Why? Because Satan knows that if you and I get together, we're a dynamic duo, we're going to go against his kingdom. We're better together.
We're better together.
So you and I, we're better together. And so, but don't judge me prior to getting to know me. Then you may meet some people after you get to know them and say, no, they're not for me.
Right.
I love them, but they're not for me.
Right, sir.
And so get to know each other first, and then you can say, well, no, I got to know that person. No, we just don't mesh.
Right.
But we're together, we're gonna love, but we just don't mesh.
Right.
So I'm not gonna hang out or spend a whole lot of time with.
Right.
Because they're traveling down one direction, they're going west, and I'm going east. And so they have their journey, I have my journey. And so I'm not gonna hate on you because of your journey. Just don't hate on me because of my journey.
Right.
I'm not gonna assume you're going east. I got to know you.
Right.
You're going west.
Right.
And so now I'm going east. So now I move on. But if you're going east, I got to know you. I'm going east. Then we're traveling in the same direction. So we can hang out.
See, that's knowledge right there.
Yeah. Listen.
And lastly, but not least, number 4 in the agreement is do your best. Now, I know we've heard this as little children. We've heard this growing up. We've heard this as adults. The only thing that you can do is give your best. Nothing more, nothing less. Just do your best. So how does that last agreement actually kind of pull all those together, the other 3 together?
Yeah. Well, holistically, do your best. And remember, your best is best. Oftentimes, people don't feel like they're good enough. They don't feel like they're good enough. Why? Because they're trying to be someone else's best
Oh my.
instead of doing their best.
Oh, elaborate, sir.
Well, listen, you are you and I am me.
Right.
I can do the best that's for me. I'm not trying to do the best that's for you. If I'm trying to be your best, I'll never get better because that's not for me.
That's good.
But if I'm trying to do my best for me, then I can get better. And so we all have our various assignments. You can only be the best Morgan Elizabeth that you can be.
Right.
I can only be the best Larry Lawrence Brandon than I can be.
Yes, sir.
You can't be me, I can't be you. So if I try to be you, I'll mess up every time. If you try to be me, you mess up every time. And so if I understand that I can, as I do my best, then jealousy doesn't set in.
That's good, sir.
Envy doesn't set in. Envy and jealousy is in E&J, like E&J Brandy. Some people are intoxicated with envy and jealousy. That's why they can't be their best, because they're trying to be someone else's best.
East Oakland, little secular.
Envy and jealousy is all over your E&J Brandy. It's Louisiana. California was Hennessy. But anyway, since we're secular. Not me, but them.
It's not happening. To know him is to love him. And this goes on.
I love praise God.
When you're doing your best,
Yes.
everything else just kind of comes
Falls in
together.
place.
It does. It just kind of falls together.
It does.
And so when you're trying to be your best self and getting to know yourself and breaking your old agreements and breaking those old habits, that die hard.
Yes.
And so reading this book, it just kind of meshed my Christian background and what I'm learning on my Christian journey to everything else. It just gave another viewpoint on how those two can go together. They blend so well because doing these 4 agreements is almost just like taking up your cross and following after Christ, like literally. You break down all those other things that you want to do if you stop gossiping, and mind you, we don't realize how bad that gossiping, they sow seeds of discord. Like, if we stop doing that, we're honoring God.
Just like you said, sow seeds of discord. So it hurts you more than the person you're gossiping about.
Right.
You're sowing seeds.
You're sowing
And whatever seed you sow, it comes back in harvest.
Right, sir.
But you sowing, if I sow seeds about you, that's a seed for you.
Right.
But it's a harvest for me.
Right. Now that's good, sir.
So it hurts me more than it hurts you.
Right. See, come on, that's why he the pastor. Just saying, I'm learning. So with all of that, we just it just brought it to a whole different dimension for me. It just kind of opened the pages of my Bible a whole lot more, because now I can see. One of the things that really stood out is the do not take it personally. It just took me to the cross, like
Yes.
where
Oh,
Jesus said, "Forgive them, for they know not what they
For they
do,"
know not
and
what
they
they
were
do.
yelling, "Crucify him!" Like they were ready
Right.
to condemn him. I mean,
Right.
all of this, made assumptions about him. You know, you're not the king. You're not. You know.
Didn't speak impeccably about him.
They went down the list of all the 4 agreements.
Absolutely.
And he literally, in death, he just
Was his
forgive them.
best.
Right, sir. He was his absolute best, and it didn't bother him. He prayed for them.
And he got up better.
What?
Mm-hmm.
Better.
Mhm.
Much better.
Yes.
I mean, forgive them, Father, for they know not what they
Yes.
do. And they had no idea. And then at the end of it, after all that they did, they didn't receive as bad a harvest as
Oh.
we should have received.
Man, that's deep. Because if on the cross, he could have commanded the angels to destroy everything around him. But because of love,
What?
he was impeccable with his word. He didn't assume.
I mean, didn't take anything personally. I mean, friend.
They called him demon.
Right. He was like, okay.
Right.
And
Absolutely.
And we're moving
And he
on.
was his best.
we're
Right.
moving on.
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
that even takes me to denying him.
Yes.
He told you, he spoke impeccably.
Right.
He told him, okay, you're gonna
You
deny
gonna-
me
you gonna
3
deny
times.
Right.
He's like, no. And so you kind of look at everything in the Bible, you're like, okay, if they would have committed to these 4 agreements, then literally you would have seen a difference in the disciples. You will
Absolutely.
see a difference in the Christian kingdom if we just
Absolutely.
committed to little things. And it's not
The
many.
small things. You're right. And it's not many. But again, we look for the profound before we get excited. But it's the little simple things. It's the simplicity of the gospel.
Right.
It's really simple. And if we just take those simple nuggets, our entire life will change. You know, we're looking for the big boom,
Right.
thunder, lightning. But even Elijah, there were, when he went to the mountain, there was a great earthquake. But the Lord wasn't in it.
Right.
There was a great windstorm, but the Lord wasn't in it. There was a tremendous fire, but the Lord wasn't in it. But in a still, small voice. For the secular, he wasn't into earth, wind, and fire.
Come on,
But a still, small voice. So we're looking at a great earthquake. Oh, there's a God.
Right.
Great wind. Oh, God. Great fire. Oh, God.
Right.
But he spoke simplicity.
And all of that.
Still small voice. A still small voice. Yes, indeed.
Look, if you're not a member, if you don't have a church, Praise
You
Temple
too,
Global
God.
is here for
Praise
you.
Temple Global. Yes, indeed.
We are here for you.
Yes, indeed.
Email him at
Go-
info@praisetemple.com.
info@praisetemple.com. info@praisetemple.com. Go to praisetemple.com for additional information.
I'm just saying, come on.
Yes, indeed.
Now, I say this about you because you are my mentor as well. And it seems like this book came out, not that long ago. It's not recent. Well, not in our present,
Right.
but
Right.
it seems like in the mentor program that I'm in with you, you've almost been doing this without putting things to it. Like this put titles to the 4
right.
agreements. But like even today in your sermon, you talked about your environment and what
Yes.
you grew up in.
Yes.
And there was a lot of things in your childhood that you just did not agree to.
Right. And I said that I'm not a product of my environment. My environment is a product of me.
Right.
And so I call the shots. I
Right.
don't let what I grew up under call the shots. I take the good. I had a lot of good, but then I had a whole lot of bad and evil to surround me. But I pulled and took the good out of a bad situation. And I decided I will not be a product of my environment.
Right. So
But my environment is a product of me. Everything around me has changed to what I am, has become what I am.
very true.
Yeah, so I'm a thermostat I'm not a thermometer.
Come on,
A
sir.
thermometer rises and falls based on external happenings. But a thermostat is like joy on the inside.
Right, sir.
So I control the temperature, the atmosphere around me.
So, with that being said, you guys, I'm still encouraging, like, this book has.
Oh my
it's
God.
so
Read the
profound.
book.
Read the book. Cover
Yes.
to cover.
Yes.
Don't miss anything.
You won't be able to put it down once you start.
Exactly.
Yes.
And it's not that long.
No.
It looks like a pamphlet.
Short read. Mm-hmm.
Looks like a pamphlet, but it's packed with so much. And if you don't get anything from it, then I'm gonna need you to start over. Just open the cover again and start over. Because if you don't get anything from this book, you're missing out.
Absolutely.
It is life changing, and it doesn't matter what you are, Buddhist, Hindu, Christian.
Whatever.
You can put it. You can mash
You
it
can
and
apply
mesh
it.
it and apply it to your life and your current situation. It does not matter. And so even in the Bible, we strive for perfection, we strive to be like Christ, but it is a new day. It's a new process every single day. And thank God that his mercies are sufficient, because even in this book, it just parallels to it.
It does.
Coming with the 4 agreements, like learning to speak impeccably, learning how not to take things personally, learning how not to make assumptions. All of those things, if you get it wrong, it's okay.
Yes,
It's
it's
okay.
okay. Because perfection in the Greek and in the Aramaic, Hebrew, perfection in the context, as you mentioned, in context, Jesus says, "Be ye therefore perfect as my Father which is in heaven perfect." Simply means mature, grow, develop.
That's profound.
Well, your son, how old is he?
Jackson is 4.
Jackson is a perfect 4-year-old. He's mature.
Wow.
He's not a 17-year-old,
Right, sir.
but he's maturing. He's perfecting. He's becoming.
Now, see, if they would teach that,
Yeah.
because I grew up Baptist, real
Yeah.
Baptist. So,
I did too. Baptist home, Baptist bread. When I die, I'm Baptist dead.
real Baptist, sir. I didn't learn that.
Well, I went to church every Sunday. You did. I went to Sunday school and BTU.
Vacation Bible school. and
What?
stuff.
All of it.
So if they would teach that, the idea that perfection is not about being what we define
Right.
as perfect.
Right.
It's actually a state
Maturation.
of just maturation.
Yes, maturing.
Come on, y'all. Right here, look. What? I'm giving it to you for free.
What?
I'm being manager. So, with all of that, Bishop has been living the 4 agreements.
You too,
I
Kyle.
feel like all of his life.
too, Kyle.
And before I even read this book, following your life, your journey, being in your mentor program, being under your teaching and being
Thank you.
under your leadership, you learn that he does this all the time. He speaks impeccably. He doesn't take anything personally. I know that people have gossiped about him, so sees a discord about him. They are constantly coming for him, and literally he loves them anyway. And so we've had conversations just outside of church where we'll say, how does he still love anyway?
Wow.
Because we really didn't have a full comprehension of your heart. Just you live by this without
God.
it having a title or even reading this book. For me, I feel like you read the book and it was just like, oh, now I have a name for it. Now I know. I live by the 4 agreements.
He
I can
put it
say
to
that.
words.
Right,
Ruiz put it to
right.
words for
You
it.
can popularize it. Oh, I live by this. But
You're
he's
too
been
funny.
doing that
Yeah.
already. So you
I
guys
grew into this, matured into this. Yes.
matured. He is his own perfect self. As we know.
Perfect according to the word, not to, man's
Right,
perfect. Yeah.
right. So I just want to thank you, Bishop,
Thank
for
you.
actually being on my YouTube channel.
I am
and
so honored. Thank you for having me.
you.
I'm really proud of you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I have been telling people that I'm doing this for clout. I'm just letting you know. He's the 3rd
Whatever
presiding
that
bishop.
means.
He has
Whatever that
friends in
means.
high places. So if you know them, share this video, like this video, comment on this video, and subscribe. So, dear you, What do you want to learn about yourself today? That's Sincerely Me. You all have a good one. See you next time on Sincerely Me. Love you all.